Come in.
Hi, Mr. McNulty.
Hi.
Haley Simard with Gartner.
Hey, nice to see you.
So nice to finally meet you. Do you mind if I take a seat?
Please.
I'll just close this behind.
Yeah, sure. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, you too.
And I have a business card for you.
Okay.
You have one for me as well?
I do. Here you go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right.
So, want to say congratulations on this new position.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it's been quite the transition for you.
Learning a lot.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yes. So, actually, in my research, I saw on your LinkedIn that you are a University of Georgia alum.
Yeah.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Yeah.
I'm from Georgia myself, actually, born and raised. My
Okay.
parents went to UGA. Actually, I have a picture of my mom with August 6th in 1990.
Fantastic. Yep.
And
Is that a beer in her hand?
it's not. It's not a beer. That's a soft drink.
Oh, sure it is.
She gave this picture to me for this purpose, and
right.
she was really excited that I was going to share it with you.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and so my parents actually met at UGA too.
Okay.
And I have a picture for them too, just to
Cute
show
couple,
you.
huh?
Cute couple, yeah, they're
Yeah.
good people. So, funny story actually, they were in a research class together, and my dad needed some help, and my mom ended up tutoring him. And from there, they began their 25 years now partnership. And what's interesting about that is that research brought my parents together.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm hoping for today, that maybe we can see some value in Gartner research, and that can bring our two companies together and start us down a long-term partnership with Arklin and Gartner.
Yeah, perhaps.
So yeah, we'll see. And so what I want to do today is ask you some questions about
Okay.
Arklin to
Yep.
determine your current situation and how your transition from your multiple CIO roles has been into VP of Information Technology, and tell you where Gartner can potentially add some value.
Okay.
And then we can discuss further steps if you see some potential value in that what we discovered
Let's see
today.
what you got.
Perfect. So, do you mind if I take a couple notes along the way
Please
as
do.
well? Great, thank you so much. So just to start out, I would like to get a few situational facts, determine what it's like here at Arklin.
Mhm.
Say we were to uncover some value for you in Gartner today. Who else would be helping you make that decision to move forward or not, or is it just you?
It is just me,
It's
right?
just you?
So,
Okay.
so they brought me on in this CIO role,
Right.
and they've turned the keys of the kingdom over.
Right.
A lot of pressure, of course, that comes
Absolutely.
with that. But we don't do too many things sort of by committee. We just don't have the time to do that. So
Okay.
I've got to make some decisions and get us moving forward.
Okay, so you are the sole decision maker.
I am.
And when you're deciding to partner with a company or a new vendor, what do you look for in that relationship?
Yeah, I need it to be reliable,
Of course.
easy to do business with.
Right.
And, one of the things that's happened, of course, all those years I was out in California, I had a robust network of
Right.
friends and peers and colleagues that we could sort of bounce ideas off of and think tank a little bit. Now that I'm here in Georgia, I need to rebuild some of that. So
rebuilding your
so
network.
any of my partners, any of my vendors, I'm going to lean on them pretty heavily
Okay.
to be sure that we're on the right track.
And one final question for you in this realm. When you're making a decision, a large decision, I'm sure you have many on your plate right now. What is your timeline looking like right now
Yeah,
for those?
like now.
ASAP. Okay,
right?
absolutely.
There's just no time to waste. I think
Absolutely.
we're falling behind
Okay,
technologically compared to the people we compete against,
okay,
and so we really got to get moving.
absolutely understand that. And so I understand here at Arklin, you all employ about 600 people.
That's correct. Yep.
How many are directly under you? How many IT managers do you
So
have?
I've got a
say?
team of 16.
Okay.
Okay, so 3 direct reports.
Okay,
One looks after networking, one looks after application management, and one looks after operations. And each of them have a small team underneath them.
okay. That sounds like some good support.
Yeah.
And then one final question, just to get us started. If you could estimate, what's your annual IT budget going to look like this year?
Never enough,
Never enough.
right?
Right.
While we're a robust company, we don't want to overspend in this area.
Right.
And so they've given me about $750,000.
Perfect.
I wish I had more.
Right. I completely understand. So hopefully that we can discuss the most efficient way to use that 750,000 today.
Or less. We
Absolutely.
don't have to spend it all. do
Even
we?
better.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
So, Mr. McNulty, what would you say is your largest project that you have going on right now?
I mean, I took a look at our MRP system,
Okay.
and it is just not integrated,
Okay.
right? So the left hand in our company doesn't really know what the right hand is doing. Inventory is a module order entry is a module, credit is a module, right? These things all happen in isolation, and I think, in fact, I'm sure it's costing us some business.
Okay. So you are looking into a new MRP system?
I think we need one, and I
Okay.
think it has to be integrated in order for us to be faster
Absolutely.
for our clients.
So what are you looking at currently? How are you researching potential options for this new system?
It's one of the problems, right?
Right,
I mean, there's
definitely.
so much conflicting information out there
Right.
that I find myself, every time I think I'm on the right track, I uncover another piece of information that
Right.
kind of just completely throws it off. And even on a certain platform, I get different pieces of information that kind of contradict one another. I'm like, well, what's
Absolutely.
the real story?
So you're not satisfied with the results you're finding?
I'm just not there yet.
Okay, definitely understand that. Are you finding that any of the research is potentially subjective or biased in any
I
way?
mean, it must be, right?
Must be.
I mean, there's a lot of opinions out there.
Definitely. So what do you think that if you aren't able to find the research to back up a huge decision like this, what do you think that'll mean for Parkland in general?
It would help. I mean, I don't want to make a wrong decision
Absolutely.
here, right? But I also can't wait forever to make a perfect decision. So
Right.
at some point, we're going to have to jump.
Exactly. And I know that you mentioned with this MRP system, you're worried about losing business and losing customers as
Mhm.
well. Do you have any estimates on what that might do to your business, or
Not
it's
yet.
just
I mean,
speculation?
I'm just a few months in, but I'm certain that we're losing some business.
Okay.
Because of some what seems to be some inefficiency.
Right. And you did say that ASAP is when you need to be getting this new system implemented.
I think we got to go. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
Mhm.
Definitely. And I know you mentioned that you have a budget of approximately 750,000.
Correct.
Where does that fit into this? Are you concerned this will take a large chunk of your budget, or?
I'm expecting that it will,
Okay.
but I'm not exactly dialed in on what would be the sweet spot for how much of my budget should be applied to the MRP side.
Definitely. So what are you using as of this moment to help you with that? How do you know where to allocate parts of your budget?
Tribal knowledge, resting on my experiences
Definitely.
back in California
Okay.
and swagging it a little bit, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Kind of going with it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Before we go much further, I was watching the news this weekend.
Okay.
And I'll confess to not knowing a lot about your firm,
Mhm.
but I could swear I heard a little snippet about you guys getting sued recently by one of your clients.
Okay.
Can you tell me what that's all about?
So is your concern the state of Gardner right now?
Well,
or
my
just-
concern is, what have you done to some of your other clients that might actually find you in the court of law?
Right, so to my knowledge, there's no lawsuit currently going on with Gardner.
Okay.
Later in our presentation, I'll tell you a little bit more about how we've successfully helped our many customers and clients. And to my knowledge, news is a lot of talk.
Fake news?
Fake news.
Okay.
I was gonna say it,
Yeah.
but fake news, and I want to make sure that part of the reason that I'm here today is to make you comfortable with Gardner and to make you comfortable in how we can possibly add value to Arkland and your
I
position.
mean, clearly I can't choose a provider that, is in that kind of
I
atmosphere.
completely understand that, and I'm here to tell you that there's no legal situation for us right now.
Okay.
And if I were, one of our values is honesty, and I would be upfront with you about that, of course.
All right.
Okay. Do you feel a little bit better about that news that you heard moving forward?
Maybe I misunderstood it or something.
Potentially, but no worries. I'm
Okay.
glad we got that cleared up.
Okay.
Definitely. And if you don't mind me asking you just a couple more questions, how are you doing your vendor contracts right now? Are you reviewing those?
I mean, I'm reviewing them.
Right.
I hate reading a novel with
Absolutely.
a bunch of legalese in it.
Definitely.
So that's an area that I find frustrating and time consuming.
Okay. How much time do you think you spend on those vendor contracts reviewing those?
Boy, too much.
Too much?
Right, yeah.
What do you think? 10 hours a week? More?
Yeah, well, I bet that's probably a good
10?
guess, yeah.
Alrighty. And let's say specifically for this MRP system that you're looking to implement, what do you think the size of a contract would be in a dollar figure?
Well, I mean, if you tell me if 50% of my budget's gonna go to that, you're
Right.
talking about north of 300. If
Right.
80% of my budget's going to that, you're talking about closer to 600.
Okay.
So I guess it really depends upon how much of my total budget is gonna be allocated to the MRP side. of
Right,
things.
exactly. So let's suppose it's around 300, 350
Okay.
for the purposes of
Yeah,
this.
so half my budget will be under a new contract.
Right. And so thank you for sharing those numbers with me. And what would it mean for you in your position specifically if you weren't to efficiently guarantee that contract was safe for you.
Okay, when you say safe, what
I
exactly do you
mean, guarantee that you are having optimum cost savings.
Okay. And what would a guarantee look like?
So say if you were fully confident that you were getting the most for your money,
Okay.
you were spending optimally as possible, you weren't wasting, you weren't spending too much, you were spending exactly the right amounts in the right areas.
And do you guarantee that? Do you somehow backstop that scenario?
So us personally at Gartner, I do want to talk more about this when we hopefully move into a presentation, but what I'm looking to learn right now is how you're currently, besides yourself personally reviewing these contracts, if you have any.
Yeah, 10 hours a week, I'm tearing through these contracts and being sure that they're both written properly, where our business interests are protected.
Right.
And obviously there's a negotiation piece of it as well.
Right, definitely understand. So based on what we've talked about so far, I understand that you have a very large project on your hands in this currently inefficient MRP system. There's a risk of losing some customers, and you want to tie that together and make sure you're making the most efficient use of your time, rebuilding your network, and saving that potentially 10 hours a week, and making sure that 350,000 on this contract is optimized, correct?
That's the right number, yeah.
Right, so I would love to move forward, if it's okay with you, and show you how our product can relate to this current situation that you have at Artland, if that's all right with
Let's
you.
see what you got.
All right, perfect, thank you. So first thing you mentioned was the research for your MRP system being subjective, maybe a little biased, like such great quantity, of course. So it's hard to like skim through, right? Hard to know that you're getting what you want to be getting. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to show you a little bit how our research is working.
Sure.
And what we have to offer in that realm.
With all this information out there, how long has it taken you to sort all this out and get up to speed yourself?
Right. So are you asking specifically about how Gartner does our research process?
Well, you,
or how
right?
I
How have you accelerated your own learning curve?
Right. So it's definitely a lot of information. There's always new technological innovations out there, and that's one thing that Gartner really focuses on, is keeping all of its associates up to date on how we update our systems based on innovation in the world. So we're constantly trained. We have an intensive training program at Gartner with current employees and new employees, so we're all on that same page.
All right.
Does that help answer your question? Yeah. Okay, great. So in terms of our research, I'd love to show you a little bit how that works. It's a very simple process. So you can go to our research tab right here. And then our research methodologies is what I would love to discuss with you a little more. And then our proprietary methodologies, which is what we pride ourselves on.
Okay.
And so your main things right here are going to be the Magic Quadrant, critical capabilities, and the hype cycle. And this, I'll tell you a little bit more, is basically the who, what, and when of your decisions. When you want to invest is the hype cycle. And the Magic Quadrant and critical capabilities, it's what you need from a vendor for this MRP system, and who's going to give that to you. Who's the best vendor for you to select based on the company information that you will input into this system. Which is another benefit, isn't going to take you very long. So it wouldn't add on to this time that you're already spending on research in your current role. And so when you do use our search results, it's going to be filtered by the information that you put into here. So you're not going to get overwhelmed with information. You're going to have just what you need at your fingertips, and you're going to have us to help you sort through that if you need, as well as your managers working under you, I'm sure.
Okay. So
does this sound like a good way to make a decision for you? Do you think this would be of benefit?
If it works.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. So, and I do believe that this would be a great benefit for you in choosing an MRP system and making sure that you don't lose that business that you were concerned about. And again, I know another thing you mentioned was the budget. You think you have about 750,000.
Right.
And you want to make sure that that's allocated as efficiently as possible.
I do, yeah.
This is another thing that we really focus on. It's our cost optimization tools, and one of those includes the IT budget tool.
Okay.
So what it does is it compares your spending to the top 21 companies in your industry.
Okay.
So it has industry averages for you.
How do you think 350 stacks up?
I believe that, so it's different for everyone. It's in terms of percentages.
Okay.
So you're going to have large companies, you're going to have smaller companies, and it's all inputted in these percentages, so it's comparable to one another. what I'd love to show you is, say you're looking at a data center to invest in, right? So let's say this is Arcland and you're spending 14% of your IT budget in your data center, but industry averages are at 11%. So that can tell you maybe we should tone down our spending there a little bit and reallocate, right?
Yeah.
So do you see that this could help you choose where you need to adjust that budget?
Well, it gives me some idea to be sure I'm not either over or under invested, right?
Definitely. And another aspect of this cost optimization tool that we do have for you is the vendor contract optimization tool.
Okay.
And so what that does, as I discussed, is it helps you be guaranteed that you are getting the most out of your contracts. Usually we offer about 15 to 20% savings on this contract. So let's say you have 300,000 that you're spending, you're gonna get 20% of that could be potentially saved.
So is it a guarantee or is it a potential?
I'm
a little confused.
So on about 75% of our contracts, we're able to save 15 to 20%.
Okay.
So, and that would be in a situation where it wasn't originally optimal.
Mhm.
So if you have these contracts that you're confident in, and we won't find additional cost savings in every point, but there will be contracts where you say, hey, we can adjust it here and adjust it there to save you money.
All right.
It makes up to, I mean, think about it, if you have a contract of that size and it's 20%, that's gonna be significant.
Yeah.
Right,
It would
about 50,000 north of that.
That wouldn't suck.
Definitely. Do you see this being
Yeah,
potential
$50,000.
benefit too?
$50,000 would go a long way, right?
Definitely. And then one more thing I want to show you too is a testimonial from Laird. I know
Okay.
that you're a supplier of Laird and
Right.
they're, very trusted, and
Yeah.
I want to show you that someone you do business with is
Mhm.
also someone we do business with, and
Okay.
they trust us and we guarantee them, and they're very happy with the results that Gartner has
Yeah, I hear
brought
that Mark
them.
Kramer's a pretty good guy.
Mark Kramer is a great guy.
Yeah.
Mark Kramer is a really great guy. He's fun to work with.
Yeah.
So based on what we've talked about today, I can see that Gartner brings great value in terms of potential cost savings, time savings, guaranteeing you don't lose customers.
Mhm.
Bringing it all together and making this a new integration of an MRP system optimal, efficient, and
Yeah.
easier for you overall. Do you see?
Gee, Kelly, it almost sounds too good to be true. I mean, this must be very expensive.
So are you concerned with the value or the potential dollar figure of it?
Well, I only have a limited budget,
Absolutely.
right? So I've got some constraints.
Right, I understand. So what we talked about is that we could potentially save you 20% on just one contract.
Mhm.
So we're talking about $50,000, potentially north of that. So we can go ahead and compare that to the traditional price of Gartner for CIOs, our product.
And what is that?
It's gonna be the same as that savings. So this is a model of the traditional price structure and how it works depending on how many licenses you have. It's 50,000 for one, but as I just stated, that'll be the cost savings you get from just one contract
Okay.
using Gartner. So do you see how that would even itself out and kind of
And
make it
so-
easier for you in that
so
way?
Who on my team has access, if we were to sign up with you for $50,000?
So it would be for 50,000, it's one license, that would be you. And then we would put together a personalized package based on who else will be using it. And then that will determine a more specific cost structure for you.
Okay, so I've got my 3 direct reports, why can't they just simply look over my shoulder for free?
Right, so you will have access to that information and you can work with them to use that, but the way that our system works legally, it'll be just small additional upcharges, usually about $1,500 per additional license. That is something that we can
1,500,
discuss.
Okay, all right,
Definitely.
1,500 seems probably manageable, especially if we're gonna save 20% on that contract.
Right, definitely. So I'm glad that you see the value. Would you be interested in moving forward today?
Yeah, I think we could probably do that.
You think? Fantastic. So I know you did mention you're the sole decision maker. So if you want, I do have a contract. If you want to go ahead and get that started. And so you can just sign. And then I have my business card and we'll continue to be in touch. We can
Right.
talk further with your CEO, Chad, to inform him of this great thing that we've brought on. And
So just so I'm doubly clear, it's $50,000 for me and
Yes.
$1,500 for
Yes,
each
sir.
of my 3
That's
reports.
correct.
Okay.
yes, so I do have this here if you want to go ahead and sign that.
Sure.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. McNulty. Well, let's
Okay.
stay in close touch. You
Yeah.
have my card. I'm gonna send you a follow-up email
Okay.
and we'll get this in business.
All right, Hannah, thanks
Sound
very
good?
much.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much.
Take care.
Have a great rest of your day.
Look at that with 2 seconds to go. Nice work.